welcome to lesson 65. This is decimal parts of a meter. Now, we just learned in the last lesson about decimals and the place value of those represented by dollars and cents. So now we also have decimal parts of a meter. So we're taking a meter and we can break it up into smaller parts known as decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters also. And they're different lengths and they have different they are different units of measurement and have different lengths, and so we can actually break those apart to be a fraction of or a part of a whole meter. Now, I want you to go ahead and draw this portion out, all of this, because this will be very helpful to have in notes, whether you can transfer them to your spiral or whether you have your spiral with you and can do that. Because 1 meter is the same thing as 10 decimeters. So 10 decimeters equals 1 meter. And 100 centimeters is equal to 10 decimeters and 1 meter. And 1,000 millimeters is equal to 100 centimeters, 10 decimeters, and 1 meter. So we can tell that our meter is a larger unit of measurement because it takes 10 decimeters to equal that, 100 and 1,000 for the others. And I've also written it out in fraction form here for since we're more familiar with fractions by now, that a tenth of a meter is a decimeter. So 1 decimeter is a tenth of a meter. 1 centimeter is 1/100th of a meter, and 1 millimeter is 1/1000th of a meter. So since we have these in fraction form, we can also use that in decimal place value because this is our tenths place, hundredths place, thousandths place, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we can break those apart to where we can write them in a decimal form. Again, when we move to the right, we're dividing by 10 each time, so it actually becomes a smaller unit of measurement the farther we go to the right of the decimal. Or the farther we go to the right anyway, it becomes smaller. When you go towards the left, it becomes larger. Multiply going left, dividing going right. So we have our meter is a whole number, so we can express meter as a whole number, such as maybe 5 meters or 6 meters. We can do the same for decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters, but they are a part of a whole meter because they are so much smaller. We have a decimeter is a tenth of a meter, so it goes in our tenths place. Centimeter is 100th of a meter, so it goes in the hundredths place, and a millimeter is a 1,000th of a meter, and so it goes in our thousandths place. So we're going to go ahead and look at this, and I'll walk you through this because this example problem is a little bit, it's expecting a little bit more of what you already know. So example 1 says 40 centimeters is how many decimeters? So if I have, actually this is a way we could break it apart so that it's easier. If I were to write 40 centimeters, I needed the last digit, which in 40 is 0. The last digit needs to be where the centimeter place value is. So I'll write it like this. If I were to have 40 centimeters, how many decimeters is that? Well, in my decimeter place value, which is the tenths, I have 4 decimeters. That is a great way to look at this. That way, I mean, this is basically what you want to have written in your notes. Is you have the meters and the whole number, decimeters, centimeters, and meters. So the last digit needs to be what we're looking at, which is the centimeters. So 0 is in my centimeters. That means I have 4 decimeters. So 40, I'll write it out like this, 40 centimeters equals 4 decimeters. I'll put DM for decimeters. And another way that we can also see that is, I'll go ahead and show you the meter stick that I have. So I have this meter stick, and you might be able to see it better when we are in class, but I have right here, these large numbers right here, this is 1 decimeter. Then I have 2 decimeters right here. Then I have 3 decimeters. Then I have 4 decimeters, 5 decimeters, so it continues on and on. Every single time, or every single, let's see, well right here, the 1 centimeter is covered up by the metal latch. Then I have 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and it's a very similar unit of measurement. Then it continues on like this, and it does start over with 1, 2, 3, but we add with the 10. So I have the 10, so this is going to be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, so on and so forth. And then every single tiny line on this meter stick is a millimeter. So see how tiny that the millimeters are, just like they are on your normal rulers. When you have your ruler, we learn that every single tiny line, because you have an inch side, you have a centimeter side, and the tiny lines on the centimeter side, each one is actually 1 millimeter. So you can measure in millimeters on your ruler, and you can also measure in centimeters. And so those units of measurement are more familiar with, since you have used rulers before. So the only new one that you probably haven't seen is the length of a decimeter. So 1 decimeter is this long, and 2 decimeters would be this long. And your whole meter stick is about this long right here. So it's a little shorter than my arm span, and of course I am a little short, so some of you, this might be an arm span, and some of you it's definitely going to be seem a lot shorter. So this is 1 meter, and it goes all the way up to about my waist, just past my waist. Okay, so 40 centimeters is the same thing as 4 decimeters. And then we're going to go ahead and look at example 2. Example 2 says Chad measured his height with a meter stick. He was 1 meter plus 35 centimeters tall. What was Chad's height in meters? So I want to write it all as one measurement, just like whenever we've had those problems that maybe somebody ran a mile in 8 minutes and 30 seconds, and we want to change it to just seconds, or if I have 1 hour and 25 minutes and I want to change that to just minutes. So I have 1 meter plus 35 centimeters, and I want to change it to just meters, and I will write that as a decimal place. Again, look at this diagram right here. We have our meters already, so that's our whole number. We have 1 whole meter and plus my 35 centimeters. And remember, I told you the last digit of a centimeters, I wanted to end on the centimeters. So it's actually going to be as simple as 1 and 35 hundredths, or 1.35 is how you might normally say it, but we read that correctly as 1 and 35 hundredths, and then a label of a meter. So 1/35 hundredths meters is as simple as it is. So you just put either decimeters or centimeters right after the decimal point. Your whole meter is the whole number in our ones place for now. So practice set A, and we'll look at B and C together in class. But letter A says, which of these is most reasonable for the length of an automobile? Would it be 4.5 meters, 4.5 decimeters, 4.5 centimeters, or 4.5 millimeters? So I will let you go ahead and answer that. We'll go over your answers in class and continue looking at more problems on this lesson. Thank you.